Hello, Lydia. Welcome to Launch Day.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so we were talking a little bit before, and you were saying that you were feeling like a bit of the old indie hackers vibe on this podcast because you were listening. And that was really cool, that you said that. And I wanted to start recording because I feel like, yeah, this is something that we're missing. You were telling me that you're on LinkedIn, but it's only, VC-backed startup there. So how do you,
Yeah,
yeah,
and the LinkedIn algorithm is always favoring people who have like millions of followers, and so it's people who are way past me
yeah,
in terms of like how far they are along in their business. And so listening to a podcast with people who are bootstrapped, who are living the indie hacker lifestyle, I was like, oh, it's hard to find people who are launching on a budget, trying to like pay their own living expenses, but not necessarily become like a billionaire in the next 2 years and just want to create something and have users love it. It's really hard to find people like that. So I really I told you before this call that last night before our interview, I went to go check out your podcast, was going to watch one video and ended up watching like 5 hours worth of videos
that's
because
awesome.
it was so captivating. And a lot of the products you're featuring are really cool. So yeah, it was really exciting to find.
Yeah, I feel like the indie hiker vibe was so high when there was COVID. I think because of that, probably.
Yes.
But
Yes.
then it kind of died down. And I think we can bring it back. We're going to bring it
Yeah.
back.
I think the economy, I don't know if the economy in Europe matches in America, but it felt like in 2021, everyone was making like really amazing software engineering salaries and had the time to kind of bootstrap on the side. And then there were so many layoffs in 2023, 2024 that I feel like the vibes of
Oh,
the
yeah.
like software engineer economy just got like really sad. But
Yeah.
now the economy is kind of up again and it feels like things are positive again. So fingers crossed that the vibes come back.
Yeah, I think it's possible. So you mentioned software engineering. Is that
Yeah.
your career? Is that where you come from?
Yes, exactly. So I know in a lot of your other videos, you've had feature a lot of people who said like, oh, I've never had a real job before. I've always been an entrepreneur. Whereas I'd say I'm the opposite, where I always had a real job and was kind of like a corporate type, like very dedicated all my like mental energy to whatever job I had in a given moment,
So I
and
guess
so
you're
I wasn't.
American. I
Yes,
have the, I'm,
American.
okay.
America, yes, exactly. Not the European mentality. Yeah, very much like at my desk, nine to like working really hard for whatever job I had. And then at some point, I was like, I always kind of had the itch to go out on my own and not be an employee anymore. Obviously was terrified to do that and eventually got the courage just because I happened to work for a company where the stock went up a lot in like 2021. That was my personal experience. I
Oh,
suddenly had
nice.
enough savings to be able to say, okay, here's my chance. Let me just go solo
Awesome.
for a while and see if I can make it work. So for the past 2.5 years, I've been solo.
That's awesome. I know
And,
someone who was one of the first employees at Nvidia, and then he
oh my
even
God.
10 years ago, 12 years ago, no, wait, it was way longer than that. No, yeah, 10 or 12 years ago, he already retired. He was already millionaire from that. But I hope he
Yeah,
kept
I
some,
know not. I was not. That's amazing. Oh my
yeah.
God, to be an early employee at Nvidia would be incredible. No, mine was a much more modest, just like a couple
No, I guess.
years. Yeah, but that's amazing that he was. Yeah, I've heard crazy stories about Nvidia employees that they just go to Louis Vuitton and buy the whole store or whatever. I've heard the Louis Vuitton store in whatever town Nvidia's in Silicon Valley that it just like, yeah, it
Oh,
does
wow,
bonkers
no.
business.
What's that story? I never heard it. That's interesting.
Oh,
The
I have a
story.
friend who has a friend who also was an early NVIDIA executive, and he apparently with Louis Vuitton, I forget, like there was just some crazy story where he had like bought 10 purses over Christmas or something,
Oh my
and
God.
then he like didn't like them, so he went back, and then they like I wish I remembered the details, but I do know that
Yeah.
people at NVIDIA have done very well for themselves, obviously.
As a Frenchman, I don't really like Louis Vuitton. I much prefer Hermes. I think
Yes,
Hermes is
totally.
way higher quality. Louis
Of
Vuitton is
course.
for tasteless people, except some pieces. But yes,
No, 100%. Hermes over Louis Vuitton any day. Not that I can afford either of them, but if when
agreed.
I make my first million, it'll be an Hermes purse for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, good. You have good taste. Okay. So corporate, I guess there was like, it seemed like you enjoyed it. Like it was cool. It was your thing.
Yeah,
So what,
I
yeah, go
so
ahead. Like,
how
how
the
did you
how the
go to,
switch?
yeah.
Well, my dad was an entrepreneur growing up, so I knew that it's in my blood. Like, I would say some of the people on your podcast, I'm just quoting things I heard last night on your podcast. One person was saying that he never really did well in corporate America, and I would say I was kind of like that too, where it never was the perfect fit.
Mm.
I definitely learned a lot and loved being a software engineer. I just always felt like, I don't totally love having a boss. I don't totally love having to do the like, um, building what I don't want to build the feature I don't necessarily think is the most
Oh
important
yeah.
feature. I'm a very opinionated software engineer for better or worse. And it was
Okay.
a little frustrating sometimes feeling like in a box. And
Yeah.
so I thought, well, if I could build what I wanted to build, what would that be? And so I left my job. I was working at MongoDB, the database company.
Oh
I
wow.
left in 2022, 2023 maybe, January 2023. And I'd always wanted to build cybersecurity apps because I've always just been a huge fan of the Darknet Diaries podcast for many, many
Mm-hmm.
years, and have always been most interested in the news by cybersecurity incidents. And I just think that that's like wars are basically being fought online just as much as they're being fought in
And it's
through military now, and it's just so interesting. So I
and
was
it's
like, I want to
growing. This threat is growing. Like it's a growing
totally,
market, I think.
and especially with AI, I feel like I read
Mm.
somewhere the number of phishing attacks has gone up like 1,000% since the invention of ChatGPT,
Yeah.
because now it's so easy to just launch cyber attacks. And so I was like,
Like in
this
what
is
way? Because I'm actually not sure. I understand.
Well, so basically any sort of hack that you could do. You in the old like a hacker. I'm not a hacker, but I read about hackers all the time, and I'm always like interested in the hacker mentality. That if you find a vulnerability, you have to really use a lot of creativity to come up with like how to find that vulnerability, and like figuring out what an API endpoint is going to be, for example, like, oh, what would this company have as their API endpoint? Let me like manually think of a bunch of different ways they could make what their API endpoint would be. But now with AI, you can just type into AI, come up with like 300 probable API endpoints for what they're using for their like payment software or something. It just becomes a lot
Yeah, I
easier to be a
see. I see. I
hacker.
see.
And with phishing emails, it's like, okay, come up with a bunch of strategies for sending a phishing email. How can I get past this type of phishing filter? How can I get past this? And it's just a lot easier to generate this kind of content. Along with a boom in phishing emails, there's also a big boom in phishing simulation companies, like those companies where you hire them to send emails to your employees that look like phishing emails
Oh,
to train people. So that's also become huge after AI, is like training people to
yeah,
recognize
because they can give
phishing.
away super important shit. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just
Wow.
becoming this huge field. And I thought like,
Awesome.
oh, that's so interesting. I'd love to make apps in that space. Speaking of the indie hacker mentality and not necessarily wanting to give VC funding, I thought, okay, let me go B2C instead of B2B, because a lot of the anti-phishing tools out
Yes.
there are B2B. And I was like, if I go to B2C, then there just aren't the same level of tools available B2C. If you really want like good anti-phishing tools or good cybersecurity tools, you need to be getting an enterprise license with like 1,000 seats.
And
And so I thought, okay,
we
let me try B2C.
we usually say B2C is super hard, but your project reminds me a bit of a tool from other indie makers from a few years ago. Uh, I kind of forgot, but I remember the tool. That's like a thing to unsubscribe you from all the newsletters and all the
Oh
things,
yeah, 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 yeah. That's
you know? And
Yep.
it's kind of like, and it's a B2C play. And I think they went big when somebody featured them on TikTok, because I
Oh
guess for
no way.
B2C, TikTok is great.
Yep, I've heard
And now
that.
they have like, thousands of paying people who just like, it's just like gonna automatically see all your subscriptions, unsubscribe you, and you can double check. And it's very cute design and everything, very easy to use, so there's definitely ways to make it work in B2C. Yeah. And for
Yeah,
phishing, there's a big need, I think. Yeah.
I think so too. It's just really hard to find those customers because a lot of people think like, okay, Gmail's spam filter is amazing. Why do I need this? A lot of people don't get phishing emails, so it's hard to find the people
I
who
get
do
them.
get phishing.
I tweeted about it last week. Don't know if you saw that, but
No, I didn't. I don't have Twitter.
I tweet 30 times a day, so you're
Oh.
excused, but to have missed one tweet. But I got I got them now. It's X writing to me, so Twitter, saying somebody is trying to log in from Brazil.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
it you? And like I'm like, no, it's not me. And then I'm almost clicking, and then I check the where it's from, and it's fucking phishing.
Yeah, and it's like when you're awake and you've slept well, you can like think hard enough to be like, okay, where is this link actually going? But I don't know if you're like me. Sometimes I check my email when I'm falling asleep at night or in the morning. I don't have the mental strength. So I was
And,
like, let me make a tool that does that check for
and
you.
wait, we're
Oh yeah,
gonna
go
go to
ahead.
that. But like,
Oh, the
and
story continues. Okay, sorry, I
yeah,
didn't mean to
no,
cut you off.
nothing. I was just telling you my use case because maybe you can use that. But like,
Yeah, I am gonna find your tweet and look at it.
okay,
Yeah, I'm very interested.
but yeah, the thing is the emotion. Like, because my ex account is very precious to me. It's important.
Mm,
And when I see that, I'm like, wait, somebody on X is logging? That's like immediately I'm like, shit. And so my brain just goes to solving that problem. And that's how they almost got me. I was really close. So
uh,
yeah, it's because I think a lot of people they say, oh, you're an idiot if you fall for this. But I think it's not about technical abilities, or it's not
no,
rational, it's
no,
emotional. They can use
totally.
the right switch, and everybody can, like this French woman who got famous for falling for a fake Brad Pitt, and she sent him
Oh,
five
I
hundred
didn't.
thousand dollars that was all over the news, like not just in France, like people made fun of her worldwide. The poor woman, she
Oh
was like
no.
60, she's like super smart, she's like a lawyer, she's not stupid, and she got like by this guy. And I mean, it's the cliche to say this guy from Nigeria, but this
It
guy,
actually was.
it actually was, maybe not Nigeria, but like, and this guy just took $500,000 from her. He's like a star in his village, uh, but with shitty photoshops of Brad Pitt in the hospital. But he managed to convince her like Brad Pitt was like kind of into her, and that he needed her help because his agent didn't want to give his money, whatever. And it sounds so stupid, but I don't think it's like, I think we can, a lot of people can be vulnerable at some point, and you get hooked, and then you tell yourself the story to convince yourself, and then you're fucked.
Okay, there are a couple things there that I want to jump off of. Okay, first off, totally agree. It happens to people who are smart all the time. Part of my marketing, I always say, like, Jeff Bezos has gotten fished. Like, I don't know if he's still the richest man in the world, but at one point he was the richest man in the world, and he's gotten fished. So it doesn't have to do with intelligence, to your point.
But he
Two,
did. How I don't know the story. He
yeah,
got
so there was the famous, do you remember the way his marriage fell apart was the National Enquirer leaked photos of him with his mistress?
the
Those were
previous marriage because right now he just
previous,
got
yes.
married. Okay,
So
yeah,
okay,
okay.
yes, previous marriage fell apart because his personal photos were leaked from his phone to the National Enquirer. And the way
Oh
the National
wow.
Enquirer got those photos was by phishing him. It was through a WhatsApp. It was an SMS phishing, so through WhatsApp. But basically, he had automatic downloads turned on because those are the default in WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And so, like, speaking of like princes, like literally a Saudi Arabian prince he's often been implicated in these like phone hacking scandals. He met Jeff Bezos at a party, sent him a message, and said like, "Hey, this is Mohammed bin Salman. He's like a very big deal." He sent a phishing text to Jeff Bezos. I have a whole blog post about this if you're curious. And I've given
Wow.
a talk at multiple conferences about this because this is my like perfect story of like this can happen to anybody. And
Yeah.
he said like, this is my number, nice meeting you at the party, sent an attachment. And then because Jeff Bezos had attachments automatically downloaded, turned on by default in WhatsApp, the file got downloaded to his phone and started siphoning off all of his personal photos immediately to servers in the Middle East. This has all been documented because Jeff
Wow.
Bezos like released the report about it because the FBI refused to
Yeah.
investigate. And so Anyway, yeah, Jeff Bezos, huge hacking scandal. His whole marriage fell apart when those photos went live. I mean, I think his wife and him were already separated, so it wasn't totally
Yeah,
like,
but
but
like, it's not good
yeah,
when you're still
not
in the
good.
process of divorcing. Yeah,
Exactly. And then
not great.
Jeff Bezos wrote a blog post where he was like, "This happened to me. This can happen to anyone." And he says that.
100%.
So he said like, "I fell for this.
You
This
need
is
to put
not
that
some."
on your landing page, just like actually photo of Jeff Bezos,
Wait, that's such a
not
good.
no, not a testimonial, just like just say that.
Yeah,
That's
no, I'm going to. That's a great idea. I never thought of that. Yeah, he has. I have the quote. So yeah, he has said this can happen to anybody. And then oh, another famous, like to your point about really intelligent people. There was a finance reporter for a big newspaper. I forget which one, but she had this viral article earlier this year because she got. It wasn't a phishing scandal, but it was like one of those phone scandals where they call you and say like your kid has been kidnapped or something's going on with
oh
their
yeah,
like taxes or something. She fell
yeah,
for
yeah,
it and ended up sending them $10,000. And she wrote a whole article about it because she's like, I'm literally a technology reporter and I fell for this, which
yeah,
takes such
and it
courage to go live, to go public and say like, I fell for this sort of scandal. But yeah, I think to your point, like there shouldn't be any shame, but it does make it really hard for me to market because everyone's first thought is, this won't happen to me. I don't need this. I'm too smart to fall for this. So it's really tough to market. You have to have self-aware customers who know like, oh, this could happen to me and I might need this. Do you hear a vacuum cleaner in the
yeah,
background, by the way?
I
Oh
do,
no.
I do.
Okay. I don't know how to cancel that.
You
Well,
can take a 30-second break.
okay.
Don't
Okay.
touch anything. Just yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So now I'm curious, like, so, but first of all, like, you said you were like trying to market it, but you said you were doing conferences. Is that how you were approaching it? Because that's interesting. I've
Yeah.
never heard that.
Originally, yeah, that was the one of the first strategies I used. Just because I'm a software engineer, I suck at marketing, and so it was like, oh, should I figure out how to market something, or should I just apply to a bunch of conferences? And the second one was much easier for my skill set.
Yeah. Okay.
So I just applied to a bunch of conferences, and I ended up speaking at 4 conferences last year. Um,
Wow. Was it
yeah,
scary at the beginning?
it was
Oh,
actually weirdly, I don't get too nervous about public speaking.
cool.
That's a weird thing. I get much more nervous about making like a Loom video or being on this podcast, much more nervous than being in
Oh,
person.
for me, it's
Um,
reverse. Yeah.
yeah, so I was fine at the conferences. It was a really, really cool experience. I got to meet
Amazing.
all sorts of cool people. Um,
And
but it wasn't,
did it work for
no,
marketing?
it did not because I think doing the conference speaking would work much better if I had gone B2B. But the expectations, I spoke at a bunch of cybersecurity conferences.
Oh
So
yeah.
people were very supportive and they were like, I love what you're doing, but they weren't the right customer. They were like,
Yeah, yeah.
I already use like Know Before or Proofpoint or Mimecast, all these
Super
competitors
advanced
that
shit. Yeah, yeah.
super advanced shit where they have like 1,000 engineers building something. And it's just like the feature set's much bigger, the price point's much higher. So it didn't work out, but it was a good learning experience, I would say.
I see, I see.
Yeah. So if I could go back and do it again, I maybe wouldn't have done the conference circuit because it's more the B2B track, I think. Um,
You
but
met
I
people,
do,
I guess, that there's
yeah, I
some
did. And
opportunities
I
like that.
I met and they gave really good feature ideas, made great contacts in the field to like shoot ideas off of. So that was all very positive.
You
But
build
in
up
terms
your
of,
authority. Yeah, that's useful. Yeah, yeah.
yep, yep, exactly.
It's kind of
Uh,
like X and social media. If you just go there to get sales, might get disappointing. But if you go there to like meet people, like for me, like, I mean, I'm selling things for indie makers now, and so that's cool. But like, the big thing I notice is once you have a certain number of followers, even just 1,000 is quite big actually. You start getting invited to podcasts. Once you put yourself out there in any fashion, it opens up so many things. Like, because
yeah,
like I used to like be completely invisible, no social media, like 4 years ago before starting. And then you start, and then eventually, wow, people invite me to podcasts. Wow, people write about our product spontaneously, and that's only because you put ourselves out there. So that's still, I think, super valuable, these things.
yeah. I think that was very hard for me. That wasn't a skill set that I had ever developed. I think I remember you saying on one of your podcasts that you were a product marketing manager. Is that correct?
I did
That
that for just 8 months, but yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
I didn't remember. I didn't
yeah.
know if you'd always done marketing
I was mostly an engineer for a long, software engineer for a long time. Yeah.
oh, okay. So you've managed to go from, well, props to you then for being able to post to X and stuff. I'm actually in a SaaS marketing boot camp right now to teach me how to do these things because they're so
Nice.
hard. Yeah,
No, but
there's
I
a
yeah.
yeah, I've had to like get a lot of training to figure out how to do that. I was on X for maybe a day or two and I was just like, I have no idea how to like I didn't realize that you need to reply to people. This is very obvious stuff that I now know, but like
Oh,
find people who have domain expertise and are posting. You need to post, but then you also need to start conversations with other people.
yeah,
This is something that's so obvious that like I did not know. So I was just like totally not doing the social media marketing stuff at all.
yeah.
And then now I'm doing it a lot more on LinkedIn just because there seems to be like a really big a lot of phishing stuff happening on LinkedIn, so it seemed like the right place to
Oh,
be
that's
doing that
good.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean, uh, you mean that people like get fished on LinkedIn DMs?
No, 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 no. That people like thought leaders post about it. That there's a lot of
Oh,
this. It's kind of. I feel like a lot of X moved to LinkedIn around
yeah, yeah.
2024.
Like,
Yeah,
let's say a bunch of them, yeah.
yeah.
And now a
So
lot of
I've.
them cross post. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. True. And then there's Blue Sky. So I'm just on LinkedIn. I just had to focus on one.
But maybe TikTok. It's
I
super
do think
overwhelming, but partnering with somebody, like with an influencer there.
I saw Peter Levels. He had his posts about like finding TikTok influencers and getting them to boost his like AI products and how successful it was. So I've been meaning to do that for years. But yeah, to the point about conferences much less intimidating. TikTok very
No,
intimidating.
yeah.
So
Oh,
I need
yeah.
to do it.
It is for me as
I'm
well.
writing this down. But you're totally right. TikTok is like such
Also,
a good avenue for this stuff.
you have the advantage that everybody in the world, when they want to use TikTok, they have to get a VPN, get a US phone number because it's always local first. So me, when I started posting to TikTok, I talk in English, but it goes to literally my local butcher, say, "Oh, I saw you on TikTok." Yeah, cool, but I
No
don't give a shit
way.
because TikTok is local first, so it's gonna be in your language, in your region, and you're fucked. So everybody wants to be where you are, Lydia. So this is your
That's
advantage.
great. Oh,
Go on
that's
TikTok.
so interesting. No
People sell
way.
this service. Like people have like, it's a big thing now.
I
You
do have a
you.
friend who sells proxy servers, so I've always wondered kind of about that market.
But
That's really
TikTok, you have to
interesting.
buy a different phone. You have to buy US number and VPN, and then you can post. Even if you're here. So it's a nightmare.
Oh
Uh,
my gosh, that's fascinating. Yeah,
yeah,
I
there's
listened to one of your interviews with one of the an indie hacker based in Estonia, and he was saying
yeah,
he moved from Turkey because Turkey doesn't have Stripe. And
yeah,
I was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even know there were countries that don't have Stripe."
yeah.
Like,
You can't even
I just have
imagine.
such an advantage being in the US and don't realize
Yeah,
it. That's really interesting.
that's
Good to
awesome.
know. I need to be doing more
Uh,
TikTok.
yeah. So, okay, about your product now.
Yeah.
How long you've been working on it? Because you
I
said,
launched I launched it in December 2023 or maybe November
oh,
2023 on Product Hunt. And then
oh,
I had a bunch of signups at first. And then I you know, like I was new to this whole thing, and so it wasn't enough to like pay my rent, for example. But what B2C product starts as being able to pay your rent?
yeah.
But I was naive and I thought, oh, if it hasn't like gone totally viral, then I should just kill it. So I wasn't spending too much time on it. And I
Mm,
spent the next 2 years trying to monetize my business in other ways. So I think I started like six other businesses and
oh,
kept pivoting and trying and trying and trying different things. And then
because you
I
thought it should be easier.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
I didn't know how to market, so I didn't market it at all. I just
Oh,
launched it on
so
Product
you could
Hunt.
have kept going to that for a long time. Yeah.
Yes, I feel, I mean, hindsight's 2020, right? Like, I wish I had done this, but I just didn't know at the time, and the way to
Yeah.
learn is by failing. So I learned a lot of what not to do. So I had pivoted my business like six times, I think. And then around March of this year, I started getting a lot of customer emails from two Fishy users asking like, "Hey, can you build this feature? Hey, I really like this. Can you build this?" And
Good.
it was so weird. It was very random. It all happened 2 years later in March. And I thought, okay, let me go back to this product now because this is the one that's, has people who actually care about it. So then I came back to it and I started building a bunch of new features, and that's kind of why I reached out to you, is because I'm relaunching now.
Yeah. Let's
I
take a look. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
And I just want to mention while you share your screen that it happened to me with my previous startup also, is that sometimes it takes time. Like people, they hear from you once, but then, there's going to take them 6 months, 1 year or more to like, oh, I need this and I remember that. And, that's why at first it's almost impossible unless you have a massively viral, unique, crazy idea that somehow resonates, 1 out of 1,000 chance. But other than that, you can have a good idea, but it's just like, people are not ready now and they need to
That's
trust you and to see you.
This is so actually, you had asked about conferences and I had said it hadn't been very successful, but actually some of the people who messaged me from conferences, but to your point about 6 months, they messaged me 6 months later after the conference. So it
Yeah.
took them that long to kind of have a use case and be interested enough to reach out to me. So yeah, it takes a really long time. Customers don't buy like, they don't see an ad and buy tomorrow. They see
Yeah.
an ad and they buy 6 months later. So I didn't realize that. So yeah, now I'm relaunching, added a bunch of features and I'm super excited about it. I can share my screen if you'd like.
Yeah. Let's go.
Okay, let's do it. All right, so it's a plugin for Gmail. So the way,
Awesome.
I don't know if you've ever used a Gmail plugin, but you basically install it in Google Workspace and there's a link on my website. And then it shows up on the right side of the screen here, if you can see the Too Fishy logo. And this is like a
Oh,
safe email
yeah. I
from
like
the
the way
one.
you did it. Yeah, really, really nice. Well integrated. Because sometimes these extensions, they use different ways to integrate with Gmail, and it makes it so heavy and so slow. But
Yeah,
if you use the default thing, I think it's going to be better for sure.
yeah, a lot of anti-phishing tools are like janky and they don't work because they're not well maintained. But two, they're often built with Chrome extensions, and the Chrome extensions just break really easily. And then two, they don't work on mobile. Whereas if you build
Mm.
in the native Gmail interface, then it works on the Gmail iOS app or on the Gmail
Oh,
Android app. So you can like use this on your phone, which the other tools that I've found you cannot do.
you
So
know what?
that's
I need this tool, but literally I was like, oh no, it's gonna be only on desktop. That's what I assumed because I'm used to this. So that's awesome that you say this. And I hope you can put it on your landing page because I literally wasn't gonna consider it because of this.
oh, no way.
Because I assumed this. Because for all of these extensions, they're only on desktop.
th- I say like works on mobile, but I guess that doesn't resonate with people. I need to figure out a way to phrase it where they're like, "Oh, I know what that
No,
means."
no,
Then,
maybe I just scanned it quickly. Maybe just show a screenshot or something, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just saying that that was my situation. Yeah.
No, I love this feedback. I'm gonna do that for sure. So yeah, this is a like safe email. I wanted just red, green, super easy to read to the
Yeah.
point about like, not always having the mental energy to analyze an email. And then this is like a phishing email that I got recently, update
Mm.
your ID badge, and then red, is it fishy? Yes. And then I think another thing I really wanted to do with my plugin was explain why. So I analyze all the links in the email, and there's like a link in here. This link is 6 days old. One of the best ways to identify a phishing site is if the domain was registered in the past X amount of days. And then
Oh.
so if it's like, because that's like I talked to a bunch of cybersecurity practitioners and they said this is like the number one way to know something's a phishing link. And you'd think Google Chrome would just block all phishing links, but Google Chrome, like browser, they only block reported phishing links. So you have to, a lot
Oh,
of
that's
times it
it.
takes.
Oh, I assumed there was some genius AI, but no, it's just
No,
reported.
it's reporting because
Oh,
they could use Genius AI, but they don't want to because it would be like um, overly
yes.
protective and then it would
Cautious.
block
Yeah.
too much stuff. And they don't want customers complaining that Chrome
Makes
blocked this
sense.
website that's actually legit. So they tend to, what's the word? Like they'd rather have, they'd rather like err on the side of not blocking too much
You
stuff.
need because
So,
you need a section on your landing page that said you thought Gmail was protecting you because I thought Gmail was protecting me until you said that. You know, I'm just
okay.
brainstorming, of course.
No, I
It's
love
just
it.
like,
No, this
but
is great.
but I thought Gmail was protecting me. I really did. And now when you say that, I'm like, oh, this fucking implementation is just reported because there's it's Google. I thought they had the best AI. You
Well,
know.
they do, but it's like it's just the way they decide to design the features. So they have to walk a very delicate balance. So yeah, a lot of people think the Gmail spam filter is amazing, but Gmail spam filter is actually not even the best spam filter out there, and they let in like 600 emails per 10,000 or something like that. And then another thing about and then Chrome is thought to be the safe browser, and everyone signs up for Google safe browsing, but actually Chrome isn't going to if they're only going to block sites that have been reported. And so
Yeah.
if something
Fuck.
hasn't been reported yet, and so yeah, scammers, it's not very hard to register a new domain and move all
Yeah.
their code
Yeah.
over to a new domain. So it's very easy to outsmart Chrome. And
Yeah.
so yeah, so okay, that's my little tirade against Chrome. But
Is
yeah.
is there like a chance you can show on mobile just on the camera? Because I'm just curious. Just if
No,
you
I
no,
can't.
you
I
can't.
haven't got
Okay.
it set up, but I can send
Okay.
you a screenshot after.
Yeah.
Um,
You will make
oh,
the demo,
actually,
so
you
it
know
will be
what?
in the demo. It's fine.
I can actually show you. This is the install page for Gmail, and I do have some screenshots here. So there's a mobile screenshot. So this is what it looks like on mobile. Can you see this here?
No,
I know
can you
it's a
zoom
little
in?
small. I can
Can you
zoom
zoom
in.
in somehow? Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
let me know. So this
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
very,
Okay.
yeah, but so someone has your password, you get this email, and then the available add-ons pop up at the bottom of the email.
Oh.
And then you can see it
Is there
there.
a way to make it green or red automatically, or you cannot do
Yeah.
that?
Oh, you mean make this logo
Yeah,
green or red?
this. No, it's not
No,
possible, I guess.
no. Gmail's add-on API is very limited, unfortunately. So I'm
But
working.
that's why at least it's smooth. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess you could have like a Chrome extension for just the desktop version, but yeah, I
Yeah. I
see.
could have. I could have. I
No, no,
did not.
but
Yeah.
it might be better, because if you did have the Chrome extension, then people will get used to see red or green, and then if on the mobile app they don't because it doesn't work the same, they will trust an email that they shouldn't. So I think it's best.
That's a
Yeah.
good point. That's a great point. Yeah. Um, so
Okay.
yeah. So
Wow,
that's
this is so
that's
cool.
mobile. Yeah, and I use like a couple examples of famous. We were talking about like the Jeff Bezos phishing hack. The inspiration for a lot of my early marketing materials was like famous hacks in history. So I have on my website some examples of like the Sony hack when North Korean hackers hacked into Sony after this was in I think 2016 or something. Like
Yeah,
how
I
the
remember that.
plugin could have protected against that, and then there was the Hillary Clinton email hack or John Podesta, her campaign manager. I have some examples of like how this plugin could have protected against that.
Yeah, I
So
think the whole thing for you is storytelling. Like these features are nice, but it's just like bottom of the page. Like it's all about Jeff Bezos got fished. Gmail doesn't actually protect you. This shit. I would say, yeah,
it's so because you know how I was saying I'm now like I'm doing marketing on LinkedIn for the first time, and it's really interesting to your point about storytelling because I'll post a post that took so much work. Like I'll be like, okay, there was this recent phishing email, and it has like these three like bugs in Google software that it got around, and this is how it worked, and those won't perform at all on LinkedIn. But then when I
oh
post something about a celebrity getting phished, that
yeah,
performs really well on LinkedIn.
yeah,
So
hundred
you're
percent,
totally right that it's like the storytelling, not really the technical features that people care
yeah,
about.
100%.
So yeah, again, the software engineer mentality, having to learn how to do marketing. I always thought the hardest part of being an indie hacker would be the coding. Totally not the hardest part. The hardest part is the marketing for sure. For me, at
100%.
least. I don't mean to speak for other people, but for me, the marketing has been the biggest learning experience by far.
Cool. Can you stop sharing your screen
Yeah,
when
for
you're done?
sure.
Um, so yeah, 100%. Yeah, it took me 3 years to start doing marketing. It was so painful when I realized I had to do it, but then I embraced it and now I love it. But yeah, I mean, this learning experience of like, you cannot just be in your little cave and build your nice product and get rich. It doesn't work
Yeah,
this way.
the people on Product Hunt who see your product are there's like a 1% chance they're going to be your customers,
Yeah,
so you need to market other places.
yeah,
Uh, and not I was just thinking I think a lot of people fall into this trap of thinking if you do everything Peter Levels did, that you'll go viral. And this is so obvious, and now I know this, but Peter Levels has this ginormous following, so he can just launch a product and
Oh,
he'll
yeah.
immediately get like millions of views. And if you don't have that sort of following, it's like even if the product is as good as Peter Levels' product, it's just
Yeah.
not going to go viral the same. I mean, yeah.
And it's a whole nother level, but like even me with like 100,000 followers and shit, it's nowhere
You have
near.
100,000 followers? That's amazing.
Yes. Oh, you don't come from
I'm not
Twitter.
on X,
You're
so
not on
I
X, so
didn't
you
know
don't
that.
know.
Yeah, I
No,
didn't
it's fine.
know.
No,
Oh,
no, but
that's
it's fine.
awesome.
It's okay. Because still, even that, it's a completely different level than Peter levels. Completely different. Like, because it's not just about followers, it's about, he just inspired like a whole movement. So it's not just that. It's like he's
I
like
was inspired by him. The whole reason, I forgot to say this, the whole
100%.
reason I did indie hacking was
Yeah.
because of Peter Levels.
So many people. I agree. Yeah. And he inspires me. He annoys me, but he inspires me so much also,
He's he's very
both.
annoying. So he's very divisive. I mean, some
Yeah,
of
yeah,
his
yeah.
tweets, I'm like,
For
oh my
sure.
God. But some of them, I'm like, oh, this is genius. So
Oh,
that's, I
yeah, yeah.
guess, the
If you don't
trick.
follow him, I mean, if you don't look at what he's doing, you're missing out so much knowledge and like he's just experimenting so many things. So, yeah.
He is totally.
But yeah, to your point, like, uh, he can really launch anything and it will be interesting. And of course, that said, if it's shitty, it will not work. But if it's decent and interesting, it will. So
Yeah.
you cannot save a shitty product, but uh, a lot of mediocre or good product die. A lot of good products die because of not enough marketing. So, yeah, 100%.
And he's also very smart about how he markets. So I actually have a friend who freelanced for him for a short bit and said, like, Peter Levels always pretends that he has like one index.html file that he codes in,
Yeah, he
or and
pretends. I
it,
know.
and okay, that, yeah. And I found, like a hero dies. Sort of, my friend was like, oh no, he has very complex code bases, and he knows that the marketing for like saying you have one file is going to go viral. And I
Yeah,
mean, but that's just a credit to him that he knew that that would be so popular online to say that. So yeah, realizing I was gonna say like his honesty, because a lot of times he'll have a product just bomb and then he'll just say it bombed. But
yeah.
he is a little he knows how to tell the story correctly.
I mean, there's always a line between storytelling and lying, and I think he's 99% on the good side, so I'm fine with it. Some
Yeah.
people are not. Some people they're just really bullshitting, but
Yes,
it's
that's
okay to.
another thing I hate about indie hackers, by the way. Sorry. A
Yeah,
lot of
yeah. Go
those,
ahead.
I think there's a lot of bullshit on there where people are saying, like, I used this to build 16 apps, and like I'm selling my boilerplate, and you can like buy it for $5, and the 16 apps are like all identical, and I'm
Yeah,
like, that's not boilerplate. That's really going to be flexible enough to launch 16 things. This
yeah,
was you built the same. So I get frustrated on indie hackers about that.
yeah, yeah. Me
Yeah.
too. I got into fights because of this, but it's okay. Wow. So that was awesome to have you, Lydia. That
Thanks so
was
much
really
for
good to
having me.
meet you.
I'm very proud to be on
Yeah,
this podcast. So thanks.
yeah,
It was a great
100%.
experience.
And yeah, so we're gonna launch soon. I hope it's gonna bring you, some interesting insights. Hopefully, sales. We're gonna try to get your
Yes.
deal.
Yes.
Um, yeah, and so yeah, also join because we were talking before this call, but like I started a community for people who are on launch day, so you can join this community, and we're gonna build the
I'll
next indie
100%
hackers.
join.
I know, I
Yes.
feel it. That's why I'm telling you. And we're
Please
gonna build
do.
this new community with every day one interview, everybody in the Slack group. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh, I'm
And
so excited. Truly.
yeah, I see that. So yeah, awesome.
Great.
Uh,
Thanks for having
have
me.
a good
It's
launch
been a
day.
pleasure. Thank you.
You
Take
too.
care.
Bye.